Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the episode of the Hog Talk podcast presented to you by Vision Exteriors. We have an amazing Thursday episode of the show. I was honestly recording other videos, so forgive me on the lack of the intro and lack of the outro. Adam is just now getting to his house. He will be jumping on in just a second. We have so much to cover in this Thursday's episode of the Hog Talk podcast presented to you by Vision Exteriors. A lot of comments are coming out of the woodwork between Dave Van Horn's displeasure, what we've heard from, the beginning of the season when he was talking about lack of NIL. Courtney Deifel come out and, she said her displeasures, or not displeasures, but, Texas Tech is spending $3 million for their roster. A lot of people is starting to need money for their programs. And Adam and I have really spoke out about this for the past year. We've honestly seen this coming. We've seen what effects it could have if Hunter Yurchek could not get the football program in order, and how easy he had it when all he had was one program to worry about funding. You had the basketball, the baseball, but now the more successful your softball program is, now that they made it to the Women's College World Series, that's a blessing, but yet a curse, because when you're trying to fund your baseball program, your basketball program, and your football program, now you got there, but you're going to have to keep your roster together. They've lost 5 people in the transfer portal, and when Adam gets on, we will talk about, that, and we'll talk about, the roster and those leaving. To me, it's eye candy, not to be, nothing to be too concerned. There was one, Ava Carter, that was kind of, one of those that that could be a hurt. But let's just be honest, with the new expectations, we know what type of pitching it takes to win. We see what's going on with Texas Tech, and you're paying $1 million for your pitcher now. That used to be big in football terms. Now it's big in softball terms. Now, I do know that there's a lot of people that are against Texas Tech and how they did it. And I disagree. One, because we want to see the women's programs getting noticed and funded just like the men's programs. And where I do my drawback is when you look at your basketball program and how many of these guys are getting paid millions of dollars to play, yes, it's bringing in revenue, but we are welcoming Cal and Tyson and the amount of money that you put this roster together. But when it's other programs and other sports, it's unfathomable because it's never been done before. And I think that's what's so hard to wrap your head around, is a women's softball program. You're having a player get $1 million, and Nyjah Kennedy. And she's worth every penny of it because she is one of the best pitchers around. You've seen what happened when Arkansas got to the Women's College World Series, and your first 2 games, you went up against the number 1 player in the country, and then you went up against UCLA, one of the top offense. We've seen what elite programs are, and Arkansas is one of those elite programs, but they got to stay there. And when you lose the amount of transfers that you lost, and you've seen on top of that, DJ Gasso is going to Tulsa. That's a huge hit to that program. And you want to see Arkansas get back to the Women's College World Series. You do not want this to be just their year and they flame out. That's my biggest worry, is the fact that you see someone like DJ move on to Tulsa. And I will say this, I've talked to 2 people who follow the program, deeply connected with the program. And this has nothing to do with our conversation tonight with NIL and Hunter Yurchek. This has everything to do solely, he wants to be a head coach. I do not want to, start our conversations on our displeasures with Hunter Yurchek and then just add on this. This is totally separate. 2 trusted sources, again, who've pretty much said that, he wants to be a head coach. And it's Tulsa. He's closer to home. He's in between Arkansas. He's right there next to OU. He'll probably coach against his mother. And he is a great assistant. So best of luck to him. Best wishes to him. You just hate to see it being tied in with just what everything's unfolding right now, because it's not good. And when I say it's not good, when you have the likes of the Chuck and Bo show, when you have the likes of John Neighbors, when you have the ones that are usually, positive, they're trying to do the best they can to stay positive. When you're seeing them now come out and enjoy the naysayers and join like what me and Adam's been talking about for months now, that's where you really start getting like, okay, now there's a lot more people speaking out against because they see what's happening. And I know there was talks. John Neighbors put out a video today on Locked On Razorbacks and the fact that where this program is now. I know where our athletic program is now, but I'm worried about where it's going to be in 2, 3 years, 4 years. I mean, you have enough trouble getting a name for your stadium. You have enough trouble. Now you're putting out there, you want 30 million for your football program, putting names on every door that's in the facility. You cut a tennis program, then you bring them back because somebody brought, donors come together and raise $5 million for the tennis program. But yet you tell them we want more money, but don't raise too much because that's going to take away from, guess what, the football program. Now you have Dave Van Horn, who before the season, a couple of people that cover the baseball team alluded to it. He was talking about the lack of NIL before the season. How far this team made it? Yes, to the program standards, it was a disappointing year. But if you look at really what Dave Van Horn was trying to say, they didn't have the squad to get out of a regional. You could take the emotions of what the fans did and everything that happened at Kansas. You could put that aside. Again, two separate issues. But when you see a man who has put so much time and effort in building this program and keeping it afloat for so many years at Arkansas be so frustrated, and he's pretty much being told, go find your own money, to me is, excuse my French, horseshit. This man has done everything but win you a national championship at the University of Arkansas. And I've said it. He got you as close as you could possibly get to winning a national championship without winning it with that pop fly. And you're gonna ruin this program. And I've said, I put it out there. The board of trustees, the president, I know somebody clapped back. The board of trustees can't really fire him. I know they can't fully fire him, but they can put it out there. They can start making the motions. The board of trustees, the president, the chancellor, whoever the powers it be, they have a very tough decision to make. And it shouldn't be tough, but it is going to be tough. But we're seeing what's happening, and we're really watching this thing crash and burn and unfold before our eyes. I think it's happening so fast, we don't really realize what's happening. But for Adam and I, we've seen this coming. We didn't think it was going to happen this fast. But it's happening. And if Hunter Yurchek does not get his act together, if he does not change his ways, and he does not start embracing this NIL, he does not start embracing this new way, and he does not start getting more money for this program, he is already too late. That's the problem. It's the fact that now we're having issues getting more money for the baseball program. Now we need more money for the softball program when you can't even get money for the football program. That was his job 4 years ago, 5 years ago. He's had plenty of time to get this done. You haven't had a name for your stadium in 2 years. And I have this biggest fear that he is going to set this whole athletic program back further than what Bobby Petrino did when he pulled his stunt. Because if he doesn't start making the changes, if he doesn't stop being so stubborn and start doing what's best for this university and this athletic program, there is going to be nothing left of it. It's one of those things where if Dave Van Horn does not get the support that he needs, and if he has those conversations with Hunter Yurchek and the powers that be, and Hunter Yurchek say, we don't have the funding for you. You have to go do it on your own. This is going to sting when I say this, but if I was Dave Van Horn, I'd retire. I'd walk out in the sunset and I'd ride off, because I would not let this man, this guy who has had all this time to get things turned around, who has turned down so many opportunities to bring in money to this university, sit there and let all of this crumble and it taint his legacy. Puts a stain on his legacy, because what if he tries to ride this out for 2 or 3 years and fails another regional, doesn't get even sniff a super regional for the next 3 years? In the fans' perspective, what is that going to do to his legacy here at Arkansas? Do you think that it would change his legacy at Arkansas if he went another 2-3 years and did not get past a regional? And is that worth it to Dave Van Horn? Does he deserve that? Or if he knows that he's not going to get the support, does he ride off into the sunset with his head held high, knowing that he tried everything he could for this university, but in the end, we see what's going to happen? And that's why I think that if he does not get the support, he needs to bow out gracefully, because the fact that he does not deserve to be treated like this. He does not deserve to go out on these terms, where his program that he built will be in shambles when he leaves it. And that's why I'm either saying, powers that be, we either ride with Hunter Yurchek, we accept that we are going to eventually not even be mediocre at anything. You're just cool with your money and your conference championships and what have you. Or you could stand behind this university. You could stand behind what makes this university great before it's too late. You could stop the bleeding. You could stop the leaking dam, and bring somebody in who cares about the university and cares and embraces the NIL, because this is where we're going with it. And it'd be a sad day. I mean, you listen to those that follow these and have followed the baseball program. And those like John Neighbors have been around this program, have been a fan. They've been in the trenches. They've been in the student section. They've been doing radio and media for a long time. And you could see their frustration. And talk about a pillar of the university, Dave Van Horn, you see his frustration. He had guys that he wanted to keep, but he couldn't keep because he didn't have the money. And now you're forced to, let's go to softball for a second. You see 5 or 6 people leave. You need 3 elite pitchers. And you lost Robin Heron. You have Taylor back, or Sailor Timmerman back. And you have Peyton Burnham back. You need 1 more. All right. Then where are you going to replace your offense at? Who are you going to replace your offense with? How much is that going to cost you? Now, Courtney Van Eiffel went on the radio and was talking about Texas Tech spent $3 million on their roster. We don't have close to that. This was a team that has just made it to their very first Women's College World Series. And now she's left having to replace an assistant coach and replace half her team. And looking around, where's our support? Where's our money? You showed up to the Women's College World Series, but where's the support? Where is, we are going to keep you funded? This is why it's so frustrating. And this is what me and Adam has been saying for months and months and months. You get everything in order and you can have that $20 million for your other programs. It's there. But when the donors don't believe in you, or they don't believe in the head coach you have for your football program, it's not going to happen. And that's on you. Again, we've talked about it. The raffle. You could have had a raffle in here in place that everybody would have been behind. It would have done way more than what is going on right now. And half of it would have went to NIL, which means half of it would go to players coming in. You have Tyson selling their nuggets. All that goes to NIL. You have revenue coming in. It's unfair because what we've seen in 21 with this athletic program and how excited it was, how electric it was when everything was rolling after the Texas game. And then baseball, softball is rolling, basketball is rolling, soccer is rolling, track and field's doing its thing. You know, it's sad. And I, you know, we talked about last week of you want to be mad and you want to keep on coming here and just hammering down on Hunter Yurachek and telling him to wake up. But it's at the point now, it's just like, whatever, dude. You know, it's sad at the point because I know where this train's going. It's derailing. And we're starting to see more people see that. And they might have known it for a while, but now they're able to, maybe they feel safe enough to say it. Maybe it's just at that point to where they don't care anymore. They're going to speak out on it and they're going to talk about it because what's going to happen to them? What are you going to do? Take credentials away from them? What are you going to do? Slap their hand? But if there's nothing to look forward to, there's not a football program to look forward to. There's not a basketball program to look forward to. Your baseball program is in shambles and your softball program could get there in a couple of years if things don't turn around. And instead of what was a big problem with your football program, could be a major problem when you're trying to fund everything. And don't tell me the whole tennis program saves us, blah, blah. That didn't do nothing but piss everybody off. And the fans don't deserve it. The players don't deserve it. The coaches don't deserve it. Poor Ryan Silverfield coming into this situation. He thinks he's going to come in and have all this positivity. And we see what they're trying to do. And it's sad. It is really sad because you thought it was finally, you were seeing light at the end of the tunnel. But you also had the comfort blanket of John Calipari and the basketball program with Tyson. You had the comfort blanket of your baseball team was always good. It was getting to Omaha. It was getting to the super regionals. Your softball program was knocking on that door to get to Oklahoma City, and they got there. But now we're seeing the after effects of what could possibly happen if we don't start making changes. The stuff with Dave Van Horn, he's always been very humble. He's been very soft spoken when it comes to this, but if he is starting to boil over and bring in Jimmy Sexton, because I'm telling you right now, I told Adam this our last show. Dave Van Horn and Courtney Deifel, if you told them we're going to give you $5 million or we're going to give you $5 million in NIL, both of them would say, give me $5 million in NIL. Because Dave Van Horn's already one of the worst paid. And that's another thing that just baffles me is when you look at what he makes compared to what the other coaches in the SEC make for his tenure and what he's done for this program, he's already sacrificed enough. And so, I mean, for you to sit there and tell him he's got to go do this on his own is really a slap in the face. That's your job. You have all these general managers, you have all these people to fundraise, and you're telling one of your prized coaches that has done, I mean, really, he's done most of any coach there on campus that he has to go find his own funding. It's time for him to wake up. It's time for the board of trustees. It's time for the chancellor. It's time for the president to wake up and see that there needs to be a change because, guys, I'm telling you, if this keeps on going for another year or two, when his contract runs out, he's going to be that one. I don't want to renew my contract. I want to go take another job. And he's going to leave this in shambles. And we're going to be back to the days where they're taping tickets to the stadium. you're going to look in that stadium. There's going to be 10,000 people in the stadium. There's going to be 4,000 people at a basketball arena, depending on that. That's depends on how Calipari. He might be the lone show in town. He might live out to see this thing another 10 years. And I guess maybe we can be thankful for that, because at least we have one bright spot to this, and that's our basketball program still has a Tyson, still has funding, and it's still doing well. But you run to the possibility of running off one of the most amazing coaches, one of the nicest people I've ever met in Coach Deifel. If you don't give her her support, if you don't give her money, and you don't start getting her staffed every year, because again, they're elite now, but the problem lays on you. I mean, that's the frustration of it, is the fact that you knew this was coming. You knew this NIL. You were the first one. You wanted to brag about your collective. You wanted to brag about your raffle. You wanted to brag. Now you're on your third wife collective. And what plans do we have? What plans have we heard? We are seeing our coaches come out and talk to you about their frustrations about needing this and needing that. But what solutions are we coming up with? What are we going to do? How are we going to fund this? How are we going to turn this thing around? And the basketball, they're having neutral site games. They're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars, but Cal's doing that for his program. He's doing his job, but he has a well to tap into in John Tyson, and he needs the least amount of it to build his program when it comes to baseball, basketball, softball. If you talk about total softball, because, 2 million would have you set for a whole program. And if you want to come out and try to say, well, we cut the tennis program because that could have funded the softball program, I'm not believing that. Behind the eight ball, big time. And I'm so glad, I've said this before, I'm so glad other people are starting to call you out on your stuff. They're starting to come out and really see what's going on, because we're exhausted. I mean, we've been talking about this for a year or two. I mean, anybody who watches this, and we don't want to be this way. We don't want to be that one that keeps on beating the dead horse, but we're beating a dead horse that keeps on coming back alive. And we're like, we thought we were done with this. We were promised this big mega deal. You would think that if you're seeing your program in shambles and you see your coaches crying for help, that you would come out and say, you would ride in on that horse and say, hey, we got something coming. We're good. Don't worry. We ain't heard nothing. I mean, we hear about this mega plan, and then we see the pamphlets coming out about $30 million. That how much of that is going to be guaranteed? How many people is going to donate $25,000 to put their name on the bathroom stall? How many people is going to spend $50,000 to put their name on your office? $5 million gets you their name on the practice field. And I don't know if this is just grasping at straws to try to some kind of form of fundraising. But I don't know if this was your $500 million plan and now it's turned into 30. I don't know, because I haven't heard anything different. We hear this big plan's coming this summer, and then we see this. So maybe, I don't know if you were trying to lie to the fans. You were trying to pull the wool over our eyes and say, we have this big deal coming, and then come to find out it's this, where you can put your name all over the stuff. You put your name on the Coke machine. That's what's comical, is your idea is, hey, transplanted Texan, man, we're hurting. $50,000, you could have your name on the Coke machine. And then you keep on coming out with these statements and these comments and these tweets, and you're griping about this and that. And all it's doing is make more people look at us and laugh at us. Then you have the likes of Nick Saban coming out there and talking about how out of control the NIL is, and he's going out against people that were getting cars. I mean, it's funny because I love the message, but I hate the messenger. I do think that in some sense that college sports is getting out of control with the money, but that's what people are willing to pay. And players deserve to get paid. Now that you don't have that much control over it, now it's becoming a problem. But you'll take your $74 million in TV money and you'll go out and do all this stuff and have have a positive balance of 10, 15, 20 million dollars, but cry broke. And this could be right here. This could be exactly right. We got people out there ready to donate, but they're waiting till 100-year check's gone. I hope that's the case. I hope that's the case. Because if anything, for the sake of, I know things that were going in the right direction. We all want this to go back to the promised land. We all want to relive the 94 basketball team. We all want to relive the good old days of Bobby Petrino and the Sugar Bowl and the BCS standings and top 5 finishes and trips to Omaha. And now we're starting to get a taste of what a successful, and when I say successful, is you made it to Oklahoma City. You're getting to have that success of what she has deserved for 10, 11 years. And is that going to happen again? We know it's not promised. We know how hard it is to get to a Women's College World Series, but is that what's happening? And I hate, again, being so negative about it, but it's the fact that if we don't speak out about this, it's going to be too late. We're going to see all this stuff unfold before our eyes, and everybody's going to be like, well, why didn't anybody tell us this was coming? Start really listening to those. When you see the likes of John Neighbors, Best of Arkansas Sports, Andrew Hutchison, you start seeing those come out and really being very vocal about it. That's when you know that it's hot. And, the thing with the BOT is that, they can't physically be the one that pulls the trigger to fire him, but they can come together and they can influence this decision, and they can go talk to the president or the chancellor and get the ball rolling. I'm just afraid that if his contract runs out in 27, then it's going to be too late. I really have a feeling that if they're trying to ride out his contract, I don't know. Maybe not. But just how fast this is all happening. If there's people behind the scenes telling Coach Deifel, Coach Van Horn, if they're telling people let's ride this out, when his contract comes up, we're going to bring somebody in. Maybe that I'm trying to be positive and see some kind of hope. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing where this ends good unless he's gone. I don't. I'm sorry. But we've given him so much time. He's given us so many excuses. He's given us so many positive things that have not come to fruition, or he's been way late. And how much money has he wasted? We're talking about saving money. How much has he wasted on all these collectives? How much money did he have to buy out these collectives, or how much money went to collectives that he got nothing in return? That's what I would really love to know that. I mean, and then we get into the buyouts and the coaches' buyouts that he's had to pay out, which that happens. That happens at every school. I won't put that solely on him. I mean, maybe if you want to say giving a coach a extension after beating Texas or whoever beating Penn State, but it happened in the previous regime before under Yurchek. It happens. But it's just very frustrating. We are sitting here. This is our first off-season episode. And yet we're having the same discussions that we had a year ago. And I mean, and I can see that there is so many people out there probably wanting to donate, but what cause are you donating to right now? Do you really want to fork over, let's say, $5-10 million for a football program that you don't see winning more than 2-3 games? You don't see promise in the next 2-3 years of this program turning around. That's why it's so easy for Calipari to get the money, because he has success right now. So what do we do? Fans, what is your opinion? How do we turn this thing around? I mean, honestly, drop it in the comment section. What do we do? How do we? I believe his contract ends July 27. I believe there's one more year on it. And then meanwhile, you bring up a good point. Students need to protest. Well, I mean, yeah, that's another thing. Well, their tuition's raising higher. Meanwhile, your students down in Texas are getting a break. They're getting in-state tuition when they should be paying out of state. Well, I mean, I understand that if you have a lot of majority of your students, but raise their tuition. There's a lot of things that could have been done years ago. When you're dealing with the football stadium and there's no name on it, you're the lone program in the state of Arkansas, big major Division I program. When you come over the hill out of Greenland, that's what you see. You see Razorback Stadium. It is a symbol of the whole state of Arkansas. And you can't find someone to put their name on it. When are you going to look in the mirror? You should be the one that bows out. Well, here I was saying that maybe Dave Van Horn needs to retire. Maybe you should be the bigger person and you walk out. And you think I'm doing this just to be hard. I mean, this is the truth. And I guarantee you there's a lot of other people who feel this way, but we have always said it from the jump. We've not been scared to say how we truly feel. We're not trolling. We've never done anything to just troll. This is how we truly see this thing. We see this from a broad lens, is because we see that. And I've had good friends of mine, good people that are in the media, be like, man, we don't think it's that. This could be the problem. And they defend him. Hey, that's fine. I don't hate on anybody who defends it, because a lot of people have hope and faith and they see optimism coming from Hunter Yurachek. But when I'm looking at it from the outside in and seeing what this could be and where it needs to be, you're not doing your job. And I know we bring up the raffle. I know we bring up this and that, but there's been so many people that have wanted to do things, and you're too good for it. You wanted to do it on your own. And how is it done the last year? I would love to count up, and I guarantee you I'd be willing to put money on it. I don't know how much money, but I'd be willing to put money on it that from your first two drawings, when this first come out, which, crazy enough as it seems, when me and Adam started really digging into who was winning these raffles and how connected they were to the university and how crazy and how coincidental this was, those winnings plummeted. You went from 200 and something $1,000 to you can't even get $8,000. So what was you doing? Telling all your people to buy, or sit there and inflate it, and we're going to give it to you. Then it's just a tax write-off, just to help us out. Give us a nice sizable donation of $200,000 and we'll make you the raffle winner. I wouldn't be opposed to. That's what happened. I don't trust anything they do. I mean, they could have done that, and because, I mean, again, from the first two raffles that come out that were like 200,000, 100,000, I think this past year you could take all of the raffles combined and it would not total from that first total that they got. If somebody wants to do the math, go ahead. That'd be awesome if you could give me those numbers. But I can guarantee you, you could take the last year of raffles and it wouldn't even come close to what they got. After the fact, people started calling you out and saying, "Hey, it's kind of funny that this winner right here is one of the alumni house members, or they're part of this alumni chapter." Now, if I was said person, I mean, I'm not hating on them. I mean, hell, they got $200,000. They got $90,000. Cool. I'm hating on the person that headed the whole thing and thought they was being slick, that nobody would start catching on to this. But you have people that are going to dig. You have people that are going to look into this. And we were one of the ones that were for Bet Saracen doing it. Proud to be partnered with Bet Saracen. We love the partnership we have with them. And you have many others that are partnered with Bet Saracen in the hog landscape and the content creators. But we seen a vision. We seen something that could be successful. It wasn't going to cost the university anything. I don't see where any of that would have went wrong. I don't see how any of that would have been turned out bad. The fact that half of it was going to NIL, you weren't going to be charged anything to run it. They were going to run it. They weren't going to make anything off of it. Where was the harm in this? What were you so scared of it being more successful? Was it because Saracen was beating the brakes off of Oaklawn, and Oaklawn and the other casino had to team up with DraftKings and FanDuel to counter that because of what Bet Saracen was doing? And say what you want. I'm old school. I love the fact that they're in state. They didn't need to go to the corporate route to be successful. They're doing it on their own. And you were so against a raffle. You were so against all this stuff. And then guess what? Now DraftKings and FanDuel are big parts of the college landscape where you have college quarterbacks getting hooked to gambling. And this is another part of it. Honey Yurchek wouldn't have any control over it. That's why he's against it. Absolutely. But again, also the other fact of it is, why are you still here? You have your sights set on going and being part of that college football. Are you using Arkansas until the college football committee forms full time to where you can be the president over that? Are you staying where you're at because you've got a good, easy paycheck because you outsource everything? And then guess what? You ride off in the sunset. But what is it going to cost the state of Arkansas? What is it going to cost the university? What is it going to cost the athletic program when you walk out? And I don't think I'm way off base. I don't think I'm saying anything that I've said in the past 40 minutes or so that is out of line or outlandish or I'm talking out of my ass. I don't think anything that I'm saying that is, unless it's just because I'm being negative. But that's what we do. We speak the how we truly feel here at Hog Talk. We've done it, and we pissed a lot of people off. I mean, yeah, some of it been our own doing. I'll own everything that I've done that when I troll and shoot shots and it comes back and I make people mad. I mean, it happens. We're not perfect. But when we see things going on wrong, we are going to call it out. And I'm going to start being more vocal about it. There, being more vocal per se on social media about it. We talk about it, and the thing about it is you have the bots and you have the people that are against it, or you have the people that they don't want to see the writing on the wall and they just want to argue. They don't see your point of it. But I think it's getting to the point where enough people are starting to see the writing on the wall that there's only two options here. The two options are this: either you get rid of Hunter Yurchek, or you're going to get rid of your athletic program, because when he does finally step away, there's going to be nothing left. And I know we can't make a decision within the next couple weeks or blah, blah, blah. Hey, that's fine. I get it. but it's at the point to where a decision needs to be made. Either you force his hand to change, or you change him. You change his position. You change and bring somebody else in. If nothing happens, if you want to ride with this guy, I'm saying this right now. The powers that be of Arkansas want to keep riding with Honey or Check. Do not even piss, moan, complain, or anything when your football program still sucks. Your basketball program post Calipari is gone. Dave Van Horn retires, and you don't have a softball coach anymore. Because that's what's going to happen. You've already seen the debacle of your women's basketball program when you ran Mike Neighbors off. You brought in music and quoted that she was going to be a better coach than and turn this program around better than Mike did. And this is absolutely 120,000%. No disrespect to Coach Music, but you're not giving her any support. She's not going to be successful. It has nothing to do with her. She is coaching a basketball team with both hands tied behind her back because there is no support. There's no support in any program. But if you would have been a real business person, and when Chelsea Dungy was here, and when they were making it to the NCAA tournaments and post-COVID, when the iron was still hot, you could have invested a little bit into the women's basketball program. Boom, that's taken care of. Softball was starting to rise. Oh, let's start putting a little bit more in the softball program. Now we're getting them elite. We're good. We see the football program stumbling. Let's instead of letting Sam Pittman run you out of $6, $7, $8 million, let's cut ties when we know it's not going to work out. Let's bring somebody in before it's too late that's going to turn this thing around, because you're on the committee. You see where college football is going. You see where the landscape of NIL is going, but you don't want to ride with it. So you're going to be stubborn about it and not embrace it. You're going to boast that you're the first one. You're going to boast that you have all these collectives and you're so happy to outsource this, but you're not doing anything about it to keep your programs afloat. And now you are in a pickle. You're in a hole because you have 3 programs now that are they have their hands out needing money when you could have settled 4 years ago. You could already been in talks to somebody with a name on the stadium. Boom. Guess what? There's whatever. You could have struck a deal to have a stadium. You could have struck a deal with Walmart and Tyson when you put the name on the stadium, and you could have struck a deal to make sure that some of that went to NIL. But you sat there and told everybody at the Little Rock Touchdown Club that Walmart and Tyson was not going to save your football program. Meaning you weren't going to let them invest the money to go to NIL. Because you boldly said it with the tennis program. I think you slipped out and said something you didn't want to say. But it got out that you wanted them to raise their own money, but don't raise too much. Did you tell Dave Van Horn that? Did you tell Dave Van Horn to go out and get this money for baseball players, but don't get too much, but we're going to monitor how much you get? What if they did that? What if they thought they had this money for NIL? You took some of that and tried to put it into the football program. And I think, and just because he is who he is and Tyson's got his backing, the only one that's untouchable right now is John Calipari, because he'll walk. And you're not going to let that happen because he's bringing in the most money. He's got John Tyson right there in his back pocket. And that is the untouchable program right now, because they have the success, they have the funding, and he has the big donor beside him. And I feel bad for the other programs, because I know they feel some type of way, because they're seeing the basketball program that they have their big fish. They have their funding. They're going to be successful as long as John Tyson and John Calipari are here. It might not ever bring a national championship, but we've talked about that too. Do you want to have a successful program that maybe never win a national championship, but that continues to make Sweet 16s and Elite 8s, Final Fours? Or are you going to be that one program that, man, we're here, but we're not winning a national championship, so we need to cut ties? You're at the point now, and I hate to say this for the fans, but you're at the point now where you're like, hey, I know we won a national championship in basketball so bad, but that's what we got to look forward to right now. Let's ride it out and just embrace what we have. Let's embrace What's good right now? Because I'm telling you right now that unless softball gets a good haul in the offseason, unless softball gets some major donors to where they can get some money to get them back, which Courtney Deifel is amazing in the portal. She's done wonders. I'm not counting them out. I'm just saying that it's going to be a tough road ahead because we see what it takes once you get to Oklahoma City, how tough the competition is when you're going from the National Player of the Year. You win that, then you're going up against the SEC Pitcher of the Year. You're going up against elite pitching and elite hitting. But it starts all with the football program. And that's your biggest need. That's what is we've been screaming. There's been people that's been screaming, get all you got to do is worry about one football program, man. All you got to do is worry about one, man. And you can't do it. And now here we are. I really hate, I do honestly, people, fans, everybody listening, I really hate that this has turned into the shit show that it is. I hate that we're coming on here and we've been vocal the way we have been. But where are we wrong? Where do y'all see this program in the next couple years? Right here, excluding the first 3 raffles, the other 19 have brought in a total jackpot of 717,000, average of 38. The first 3 brought in 669,000. So 19 brought in 700,000, so $100,000 more than the first 3. So I was off base. I was wrong, but you get my point of what I was making. You had the first 3 mega winnings, and then we're like, hey, something's not right with this because we're seeing numbers on Thursday and then Saturday they're jacked up way high. Or that first one, they come out it was awesome. It was Tennessee series. You struck the iron while it was hot. But look at the averages. 223,000, the average is 38 cents. And that's going to keep going down. I don't have my other screen up to see where the other one was, what the last one was, but it's just, yeah, it's crazy, that trend right there. 223,000 to 38,000 is your average now. And I, again, now listen, I don't know. And Transplant Texan, thank you for the numbers. This right here, that could be total, not the winnings. When I say winning, I talk about payout. How much is the fan getting? And sometimes it was like $1,500, $4,000. And half of it was going to the board of trustees of the Razorback Foundation. That's why another thing I was real upset about it. Where was that other half truly going? Because you're not going to be able to FOIA that stuff. They've got that all protected. And Adam's been chiming in. He's having technical issues right now with his mic. So he apologizes that, not being able to be on the show tonight. But guys, it's one of those, we're coming into the off season. This is our last Wednesday show for a bit. We're going to keep bringing you Hog HQ live on Sundays. We'll be back on you with Mondays, but we're going to do more side stuff. We're not going to be able to, my work schedule has changed to prevent me from being available on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. So what we're going to do moving forward, we're going to have our hour-long show on Mondays, and then we're going to put a lot more short videos out, thoughts, get some really thoughts of going on, get your ideas, get your opinion on hot topics. That's where we're going with this. I think that's the new direction of where everything's going. But we really wanted to make it a point to come on tonight because there was, when you see the coaches coming out and you see the need, there needs to be more voices. And I've said that for at least a month, like, hey, we've been calling for backup. We've been calling for the big boys to come in and say something because that's what it's going to take. We love all the fans and the sponsors we get. We love each and every one of you. The fact that I've been blessed to be able to come on here for 7 years and talk sports has been a blessing, truly blessing. I love every minute of it. Even the one episode that I hated my life when it come to this podcast and the repercussions of it. But I love being able to come on here, and Adam does too, being able to come on here and talk Razorback sports. And we want something else to talk about. We won't want to talk about the same song and dance, but that's where we are until things change. That's where we are. So excited to freaking celebrate Coach Deifel in her first trip to Oklahoma City. Elated. Could not wait to text her and congratulate her. And you see the joy, you see the happiness. Dude, I ain't gonna lie, shedding tears, you were so happy because that was the first program outside of basketball that I was tied into. You got tied into the women's basketball program, and then the softball program, and then soccer, and then all the other women's programs. And you see something get built from the ground up, and you see the work that goes into building a program from nothing. Like, nobody was at the games. They were giving away tickets, just seeing sellout crowds and seeing Cole Smith down there at the fence dapping up the catcher, seeing a full Bogle berm when they open up the gate. They're running to get their spot. I mean, that's what I love, and I want to keep seeing that. And I don't want to say it's over. I'm not saying that it's over or it's never going to happen again. I know that is, honestly, I totally get it if that is the vibe that could be happening from it, but that's not. I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying it could be. I'm saying that if something don't change and all these programs don't get the funding, we're going to be here in 4 or 5 years, and me and Adam are going to be like, what the hell happened? Where did everything go? Hey, remember, man, Arkansas went to the College World Series. Man, you remember Dave Van Horn? Remember that guy? And that's the sad part of it, is because that's where things could be going right now. And that's the tough part of this, is we've been through coaching changes. The other, a lot of it, I've said it on here when Mike Neighbors got fired, and having to come on here and talk to y'all about it not working out. I mean, that was a close friend of mine, and happened to come on here and say it wasn't working out anymore. There needed to be a change. And when you did that, and you felt like you betrayed him, you felt like you betrayed that friendship, but you still have to talk about, you got to put that aside, but still yet you felt betrayed because you thought it wasn't working out, but you don't really see the circumstances that led into it. Now you're seeing what's happening. And I feel like he didn't get gypped, because he's living his best life now. You're as good as your next job, and he's working in WNBA. It's one of those things also where you've seen the highs and the ebbs and lows of the basketball program. And that's where I get to the point of, I see the highs of where this softball program is, and I don't want to come back here in 2 years and be like, damn. And maybe it's, like you're seeing the portal players, and you see DJ stepping away, even though it's totally separate. But I think what really struck me is when you have a pillar of the university asking for help and being told you have to do it on your own. Let's be real. If Hunter Yurchek's telling Dave Van Horn that, what's he telling the other coaches? What's he telling everybody else? That's the sad part. Is because they deserve better. They deserve more. The women's programs deserve more. And just when they get to the point where they're successful, the chair gets kicked out from underneath them. Because if 2 of your coaches, I'm going to say it right now, Courtney Deifel deserves a statue out front of Bogle Park. Dave Van Horn deserves a statue outside of Baum-Walker Stadium. And if you've got one of your coaches that deserves a statue outside the baseball stadium asking for help, at the end of his career, he's getting left to hang out to dry. That's the crappiest thing that you can do to a coach that's given way more to this university than you ever will. And it pisses me off that that's how he's being treated. You should take care of the coach that's bringing you. How many other baseball programs run in the green? How many other baseball programs in the SEC bring in revenue? Have brought you so much success, bring you a different kind of fan that loves this university. They love that baseball program. Some of them, I'm sorry, they're the most diehard fans. That baseball that baseball fandom is something else. I would put that up. I could get flack for this, but the baseball fans, that baseball fandom is the most passionate, consistently passionate fan base we have here at Arkansas. No disrespect to the softball, the Bogle Bombers, the Cole Smiths, none of them. They are very, very influential into what has become with the women's side of the things, and being there, being a constant supporter of those women's programs. But if you look at the top and people, if you got people that have money, hit them up. Arkansas needs help. Arkansas needs money. Arkansas needs NIL support. If the athletic director is not going to do it, we need to try to do the best we can. Because if not, we're going to be looking at a time very soon that we're going to be like, dang, I wish we'd have said something. Damn, I wish I would have listened to those small guys at Hog Talk. I wish I'd have listened more to the little guy, the guy that, yeah, there might be times we just say some outlandish crap, but we try to keep it real as possible. We try to do the best we can on here. And I mean, honestly, I wish I could put more time into it. I wish I could come on here more. But life gets in the way of that sometimes, and you do with what you have. And that's what I've tried to. There's been times where I had a different career where I could give more time to things. And I worked at DirecTV, and I could park at lot 56 in my work van, change into clothes and go do an interview or cover a game, and then get back in, put my work clothes back on, and then go do a couple of jobs and then come back. Done that many a times, did it more times that I know if they would have found out about it, I'd have been fired. But to me, it was worth the risk to me, because that's what I loved at the time. I loved being able to be one of those that was there from the beginning to help cover the women's programs, the soccer program. The funniest part about it is the very first time I talked to Coach Deifel, we were doing all of our podcast audio only. No, we weren't doing lives yet. And she got all dolled up, put all of her makeup on because she thought this was going to be a television interview. She popped on the screen, and I was in my work van and my work clothes and everything. I turned it off and had to apologize that I didn't let her know that this was an audio podcast only. But that's the early days. That's what I did. I recorded it on a Zoom on my phone, and then we uploaded it. Covering games, covering pressers, getting to go, how cool was it getting to go to the SEC women's tournament and being right there next to my family in South Carolina, 10 minutes away, but it was a dream of mine. That's what we did. And that's how we took pride in covering sports for the University of Arkansas. And we took pride in covering the women's sports at the University of Arkansas. And it's led us to where we are here today. And it is sad because I don't want it all to go away, but I mean, if we don't get somebody new in charge, that's where we're headed. And if I feel that way, I know there's other people that feel that way too. And that's where we're going to leave tonight's show. Just hope that what I'm saying is not true. What I'm saying, I hope things turn around. I hope there's light at the end of the tunnel. I hope that Dave Van Horn gets his support. I hope Courtney Deifel gets her support. Colby Hale, I hope he gets his support. I hope the basketball program, women's basketball program, they catch fire and just have that one great season and people start believing in them again. But I'm just very honest when I feel like the head guy, the head athletic director doesn't believe in this state anymore, doesn't care about this university. And I don't think there's anything he can say or do that can make me change my mind unless he's like, okay, I was wrong. I didn't embrace this NIL culture. We're committed to do everything we can to bring money into the NIL, to bring money to this university. And not a $30 million flyer that's putting names on bathroom stalls and office doors. That's going to, none of it's going to NIL. Because that's where we are, people. That's where we're at right now. You're seeing Virginia Tech $75 million donations. They're giving all the money to their players. Look at what Indiana done in 2 short years. it's not a far cry to have somebody believe in our direction of our university and the direction of our athletic director and say, here's $100 million, turn this thing around. It's not far-fetched. The money's here. You just got to find the right person who believes in the right mission, and everything will change. So, want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight to this episode of the Hog Talk podcast. Again, this will be our last Wednesday episode for the foreseeable future. We will come back with a more of a second show typish once football season gets here. But for now, the Monday shows will be off-season shows. We'll do more of this talk, bring you more updates and stuff like that. Hog HQ Live will give you more of the recruiting side of things and breakdowns. But until let's give or take SEC Media Days talking season comes back, you'll get more of an off-season show until we have more stuff going on in the football landscape. Unless breaking news happens, then we'll bring it to you. But be looking more to the short videos, short clips. That's what we're going to do from here on out to bring you more entertainment. Again, thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. Thank all of our sponsors. Come back in Sunday, 8:05 p.m. to watch Hog HQ Live. And we'll be back on Monday, 6:05 p.m. For Porter Hayes. I'm out, and we will catch you on Monday.